All right, I'm going to hang up and I'll shoot you the link on Facebook.
Okay, cool.
Thanks. Apparently, I was in the right place.
Got it, man?
What's going on, man?
What's going on, Stevie? I like the mask, except that
That's right.
it doesn't have the Trentadue logo on it.
No, well, you got to talk to this guy about that. So. And the audio is good?
Perfect. It's
all right.
loud and clear and everything.
All right, cool.
Are you going to hang for this for a few minutes, Steve?
Yeah.
Make sure everything works. Yeah, I'll see.
Hey, Dan.
How are you?
Good. How's it going? Oh,
It's going. Oh,
why?
I haven't been able to catch my breath today. It's been pretty wild.
I like that scenery behind you.
I know. I was gonna say, hi.
Hi.
Is that
I just wanted to peek out from the bushes.
Yeah, nice. Where are you?
In the parking lot. He's in the
I'm in
parking lot.
my dining room, but it looks like I'm sitting on the deck overlooking your vineyard from the.
Oh,
I know
pool.
it really does. Doesn't that look
That's
like
the time.
what's the name of that mountain in the background?
It is.
Oh, cool.
That is up on that pool looking out that way.
Oh, you guys are amazing. The things you can do.
Let's not go that far.
Yeah, because look at him. Not a lot they can do with that.
Oh, you're so funny.
That's great. Should I turn off my phone? Hey, there's Mandy.
Hey, Mandy. How you doing?
Oh,
Wow.
look, I'm at Preston Lane West.
Wow, that is pretty cool. No, you're by the event center. How does that
I know. We've been using that little office down the hall there. But I keep joking to it as Preston Lane West.
I can barely text. So anything you can do to put a background where you're not.
I just figured this out, so.
Who else is on here?
That is Jen and Victor. You and Cindy.
Oh, Jen, how are you, Jen?
Say
Good
that
to
again,
see
Van?
you.
Wait a minute. Van, what was that?
Oh, what?
Oh, I thought you started to say something.
No, I said you guys remember Jen, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're really, really tiny, Jen, so I'm not getting a good look at you yet, but maybe after.
Oh.
My Georgia glass today.
Are we really supposed to drink it?
Yes.
Ooh.
Supposed to be Cindy or get to?
Ooh, that's really good. What is that we're drinking?
OPR.
Oh, I just love the OPR. I drink it every night now, you know.
That's good. That's good. So just so everybody that's here knows, we wait. Obviously, people start dropping in here shortly, but we wait typically until around 5 after to get started with what we're going to do, the agenda. So.
Okay. I like that picture of Mandy there.
I know.
It feels silly to be talking to you guys from, just down the road.
I know. You're not that far down the road. Gosh.
Yeah, where are you really? At,
Petaluma.
oh, you're at your house?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm at home.
Are you enjoying a glass of wine?
Hello.
Yeah, it looks like it. Mandy, did you see that email from Young's Market?
The hits just keep on coming.
Oh my God. Young's Market laid off 100% of their on-premise representatives in all 33 states. All 33 states.
No way.
God.
How many was
Why
that?
I'm drinking.
May, June, and July, right?
Plus 60 days starting May 1.
Yeah.
60 days.
God, I can't even fucking begin to imagine that.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I mean, well, they probably want them to collect unemployment.
I'm assuming, because I mean, when you think about a commission-based job
Yeah.
and you have 0 accounts, I don't know what Wine Warehouse is doing right now. I know their retail people are still working. They're on-premise people. Hopefully, there'll be some of them on this, but they're just doing education and texting accounts. They're not going in anywhere. So.
Yeah, well, I hope this gets over soon.
I think we're on the other side of it, actually. Yeah, I think they need to do some of the things that they did for, out of an abundance of caution to make sure that, they weren't doing anything wrong. I do think at this point going forward, it's overreaction more than anything. They know that they know it's people with autoimmune problems, that are compromised. They understand that the elderly are at risk. And so now I think what everybody's got to do is go Sweden, that's what I think. So
Yeah.
Well, we're up to almost 1 million people now.
What's that?
Well, I looked this morning, it was 903,000 cases in the US. So that's kind of shocked me, but
Yeah,
what are you going to do?
Who knows how many more have it that don't have any symptoms?
I know.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
Oh,
But Sonoma County's doing okay.
no, because we're on top of it.
Yeah. Well, we're more spread out too. We don't depend on public transit, and we have the room in our homes to stock up and not go out every day and so forth. Or, others don't have that.
Yeah, well, it's welcome everybody that's coming in. We're at 4:57 right now. We're gonna hang out here until about 5:05, and then we'll get started, and we'll be moving along at a good pace so that we have everybody out in an hour. We're gonna talk to Victor and Cindy for the better part of 30 to 45 minutes, and then hopefully we'll have some time for some questions, and we'll talk about the format for that as soon as we can. But anyway, I think everybody's mic is open for right now, so welcome. And anybody's got any small talk? We're just talking about.
Hi, Victor. Hi, Cindy.
Oh,
Hey.
hey, Takar, how are you?
Good, good.
Hey, you're at the top of the road. What are you doing up there?
I wanted to come visit.
I know that background.
I had a feeling you might. It's in honor of you two.
Yeah.
I guarantee your weather's better than ours is right now. We've just had. I cannot believe how much shit weather we've had here in the Northeast.
Really?
Ugh.
It's
I guess
gorgeous
South
here
it's
right
been
now.
hot, too.
Yeah, no, ours has been gorgeous for a while now.
Yeah, it's
All that
beautiful.
does is
today.
bring the rattlesnakes out. I got another one last night at our
So
house.
John found a huge gopher snake in our rosemary bush a
Oh,
couple
those
days
are
ago.
good.
Those are good.
I know.
But they're
They
creepy.
still scare the hell out of me. You reach in to put your hand in to turn the sprinklers for the garden on, and you're
Snake, yeah. Well, that is better than a rattlesnake.
any day.
Yeah. Only got 2 in the last couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotten warm.
And there must be a den somewhere because they're all young little ones about that big.
I got a big one in February right outside my dining room door. And my cat was standing right next to it and didn't even know it. So, yeah, that was unusual in February.
So welcome for all the people that are coming in. Just real quick, we're at 4:59, so we're not too far from getting going. But we're going to go. We're going to wait for everybody for probably another 5 minutes. So 5:05, we'll get started. And at that point, what we'll do is we'll turn the mics off so that we don't have any background noise or anything like that. One thing you might want to do is you might want to pin Victor and Cindy, and how you do that is if you go up into their window and you run your mouse, and you'll see mute, and then you'll see 3 dots. If you click those 3 dots, you'll have the opportunity to pin them, and that way they're always going to be on your screen no matter who is speaking. So we'll get started in about 5 minutes, and we'll go for 30 or 45 minutes or so, and chatting with them. I think we have a lot of good. Victor and Cindy have a lot of great feedback for us, a lot of good questions, all about growing grapes in this day and age. And by the way, since we're another couple minutes, Victor, I would tell you that I spoke with the people in Champaign, and they are actually going to do a lot of green harvest. They're not going to bring in a full crop this year.
Oh, they're not?
No, they already know that they're going to cut back on supply, and the reason is because they realize that they have a tremendous amount of inventory that isn't moving right now. So
yeah. Well, it kind of seems to be the thing right now.
Yeah. So let's see. Oh, we got a big crowd coming in. We'll get started in about 3 or 4 more minutes. But anyway, it's certainly interesting times. I do think we're on the other side now. I don't think we're going to. I don't think we're going to have some of the same issues that we've had going forward here. But I do think I think we got a little bit of a recovery in terms of what's happening with the, especially with the restaurants and the on-premise trade.
Well, hopefully they open that up soon, but.
Yeah. Well, there definitely are places that are trying to get open, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's definitely interesting. And the crazy thing is, there are actually some really good things that are coming from this, and I actually kind of think this is one of them. The Zoom thing. I think that there's a lot of going on right now, and I think that there's definitely the opportunity for Zoom burnout, for lack of a better word. But I think this is a great way to be able to have a lot of people in one place and get some great information and some access that they normally wouldn't be able to have any other way. So I think that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it is. It's the first time I've seen this.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not much into computers, so.
A lot of people are having cocktail hour on Zoom, I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, everybody, we're at 5:02 in about 2 or 3 minutes. We'll get started. So I'm just making some small talk right now, and if it looks like I'm at Trentadue Winery, I am not. But the background picture there is the perch from the apartment that they have at the winery. And Victor and Cindy were nice enough to let me stay there one time, and it was so beautiful. I went and got myself a little bite to eat, and had a glass of Trentadue wine and some snacks right there on the balcony that overlooks the vineyard closest to the winery.
You didn't go for a swim too while you were there?
I did not. I thought that might be a little strange if I went swimming. In fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you said you might not want to go swimming while you're there.
Well, you never know who might walk in, but you were more than welcome to next time.
No one said you didn't have to wear a suit.
No.
That's so funny. Very, very funny. I hope everybody's been having a good week. I mean, I think the news that I'm seeing is more good than bad. That's for sure. So I'm encouraged and excited that we can finally get on the other side of this whole thing. It's good.
Yeah, makes it nice.
Yeah. So we'll get started here in another minute.
How's your crop of super hot peppers?
It's funny. My super hots are, I would not say super great. I got probably maybe like 4 or 5 that are in pretty good shape, but my Thai chilies, I got a bunch of those, and I'm going to have another big Thai chili year this year. So.
Ooh, well,
all those ones that I planted, I told you didn't come up, finally came up a couple days ago.
So you didn't throw them out then? Good.
No, I kept them there, and but only about 4 of them. But they don't look very good.
Be patient. They will. It's funny because I was at our local farmer yesterday who grows super hots, and he said it always takes forever to get them to pop. But he goes, then they just hit a certain stride and they just go. So
Okay. Well, we're going to replant them probably tomorrow in this bigger pots.
yeah, you'll get them going. All right, so we're at 5:04. I think it would be good for us to get going. It's great to see we got 40 people here. That's fantastic. So we'll get started. It brings me a great deal of pleasure to introduce this week's guest. This is a couple I believe deserves a great deal of credit in the wine industry for everything they bring to, they and their family bring, not just the business of making wine, but perhaps as importantly, growing wine, growing grapes, because we all know the wine starts in the vineyard. So Victor is one of the smartest, most creative people I know, and Cindy is his rock. And these are people, they're not just some people that we work with. These are like people that we really love and care for. They're like family members. And so it's really great to have them. Welcome, Victor and Cindy, the owners of Trentadue Winery and Four Seasons Vineyard Management. The Trentadue heritage in the wine business spans back 4 generations with its roots in Tuscany. Today, Victor and his wife Cindy own and manage Four Seasons Vineyard Management, where they currently have approximately 800 acres under vine and that under management, and that is not a small piece of real estate, everybody. That's a big piece of real estate, 800 acres. So they don't just manage for Trentadue, they manage for other brands that you definitely know and have heard of. Trentadue Winery got its start back in 1969, and Victor has been at the side of his father since then in the vineyards and helping nurse the winery to what it is today. Since the age of 8 years old, he was doing what he's doing now. So that's a long time. Today, what we want to do is we want to focus on 2 things primarily, and one is we want to talk about growing grapes in the current COVID-19 crisis and the challenges of that, and also to the winery. And we want to talk about Trentadue now and in the future as well. So those are the 2 places that we will kind of focus on. And again, the game plan here is to spend about 30, 40 minutes talking. And then if we can, yes, Leona, I would love for you to take over. That would be great. If we can, perhaps we can find some ways to do some question and answer. I know that some of you guys will have some questions for Victor and Cindy, and obviously they'd be better at answering the questions than I would. So Victor and Cindy, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you, Van, for having us.
Yeah, it's great. We're going to talk a little bit about vineyard management, because I think that's the thing that a lot of us are very curious about. What's happening in the vineyards with the COVID-19, and how's everyone at Trentadue, and how's everybody at Four Seasons?
Oh, it's been a challenge. And the biggest challenge to me is the employees. We got 50 employees and trying to keep them safe and educate them. Because for the first few weeks, they were just taking it very lightly, not keeping their distance at lunchtime. And we had my son, Steven, who's here too. We'd have to keep going throughout the day and say, hey, you guys need to stay apart. And finally now, what are we in, week 6, 7?
Something like that.
They're starting to get it. And they're wearing their masks and they're staying apart from each other and they're constantly washing their hands. So that's been my biggest challenge, is teaching them to stay apart, keep their distance, and
Right. So
that they can keep working. Because if we had people infected, we'd have to close our business. So it's, not only is it good to keep them safe, but it also keeps them working.
Right. Yeah. Keeping everybody safe is the most important thing. And I know everybody feels like that, like we want to make sure that everybody is safe and healthy, because it's really hard to run a business without great people. So they got to
have people to run it. Yes.
So to start, tell me a little bit about when you knew you were going to grow grapes and that was going to be your life work.
Right after I got out of high school. My cousin was going to go into the Air Force because I love to fly, even though I don't get to do it that much. So I wanted to go in the Air Force, and Dad said, no, you got work to do. So I knew right then this was going to be my life's job. So my cousin went off to the Air Force, and I joined the Civil Air Patrol here. So I fly with my friends. We do spotting and stuff like that. But it was probably 17, 18, I knew this is what I was going to do the rest of my life.
That's great.
Even though I enjoyed it growing up, working all the time, it was fun.
Hey, you've told me quite a bit about that. Like, you worked a lot of hours, right?
Oh, she can tell you more. Tell them what you had to go through.
Well,
We were dating, I think you were 15,
16.
16, I was 17. So go ahead and tell them what we had to go through.
Well, here's a typical dating a person whose whole life is the winery. It wasn't just their job. It was their lifestyle, their whole life. But anyway, if I wanted to do anything with Victor, I had to help him do his work, you know, whatever, pump overs or topping off or whatever it was he was doing. And then we would wash and wax his car. I just had to throw that in there.
Thanks.
And then we would go on our date. So other times when we couldn't get away, especially during busy times in the summer and spring when the light, when it was light late, I would sit on the tractor with him on the wheel well. And that was how we spent our time together while he did tractor work. So he was always very, very dedicated to what he does.
So we know that great wine starts in the vineyard. Let's spend a little bit of time and unpack that if we can. Four Seasons Management, when did you have that idea? When was...
It was about, what, 32 years ago?
Yeah, I think maybe in 88. And then we really started up seriously in 1989.
And what it was then it was Behringer wanted to lease the property from across the road from us.
What's now Coppola.
Coppola. So I said, sure, we'll do that, but I want to farm it, which that's how it all got started. Then I took on more properties and stuff and turned into what it is today. So
and you've always been managing the vineyards for Trentadue, right?
Always, yeah.
Yeah. And who was your first client at Four Seasons?
Behringer.
Behringer. And then when did Ridge come along?
Shortly after
Just
that.
a couple of years after, or a year.
Yeah.
Very quickly. We've been farming for them for 30 years.
How many clients do you have at Four Seasons?
About 18. Some bigger and a lot of small ones too.
Right. And how are they with everything that's happening right now? Do they understand? Do they comprehend the challenges that you have with your company and trying to keep everybody safe and manage things?
Well, yeah, Ridge is very concerned about it, and they, we work together closely, but we're taking all the precautions. The smaller ones, they hire us to do everything for them pretty much. And I try not to, this time, be around them too much. They pretty much are hands off, really. They just let us do our job, which is nice.
So, I guess, and that was one of my questions I have, do they come to you with a lot of needs, or you pretty much, I guess when you start, they would have a lot of needs, there'd be a lot of back and forth, but then once you, like, I wouldn't imagine that at Trentadue that you're taking tons and tons of direction. You probably could do it with one hand tied behind your back. Is that fair to say? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, no, some of the smaller ones, they do have a lot of questions and a lot of needs at first. And after a few years, they start to see that everything is running smooth. So they just leave it alone and let us do our thing.
And we tend to have clients for many, many years. So we don't change a lot.
Right. Yeah, because you've had, so if you started with Ridge in 1990, so you've had them for 30 years then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's and do you do all of Ridge's or?
All their stuff in
Sonoma County.
Sonoma County.
Right.
And I work, David Gates, who's their VP of vineyard operation. He's up once a week, and we talk all the time. And they have a specific way they like things done too. They're, organic. They really take care of the land and stuff. So it's a whole different way of farming from conventional.
And do different grape varietals have different needs in terms of what you do to take care of them?
Yeah, like Chardonnay, you got to constantly be on top of mildew control, where Cabernet and Merlot is not as bad. There's certain things, not a lot of difference, but there is some difference, yes.
Tell me a little bit, and this is a little bit off script, but you're every single time I talk to you, I learn and I get more information. I find it raises more questions in my head. Tell me about mildew control in an organic vineyard versus one that's not organic.
Well, you buy organic materials, and that requires every 7 days you have to spray. Where if you go conventional materials, if you use, say, sulfur, that's every 12 to 14 days. Then there's other materials you can use that you can stretch it out to 21 days. So when you do organic, it is a lot more costly because you have to go back so many more times.
Right.
usually double to triple what you have to go back.
Interesting. And we all know as consumers, everybody, all 50 of us here right now, we do know that there is always a little bit of a premium on when you buy organic, and you just heard it right there.
It just costs a lot more, and you can't use herbicides for weed control. Although they are coming out with a new product that's organic that really shows a lot of promise.
Huh, that's great. So now let's talk about the coronavirus and COVID-19. We know obviously keeping everybody safe is number one. Is there any other issues or challenges that have come up at Four Seasons that have really challenged you and Cindy, or?
Other than constant training, well, then one of the girls in the office, she's daily reading all the information that comes out, and probably a couple times a week we go have meetings with the crews and the foremans and reposting, because they're constantly coming out with new things or a way we change the way we do things. But the biggest problem I could see, because the virus itself, as long as we have crews, that's not a problem. But if they shut us down that we can't go to the vineyards, then that could become a problem, because you can't spray, you can't do the suckering, all the work that needs to be done this time of year, we can't do if they tell us we can't go in the vineyards.
And tell everybody what suckering is.
It's when you prune, you have your little shoots, and out of that come buds, and that's where all your long canes come. So it's everything else on the vine, in the head and on the bottom. We take all that off.
That you don't want to fruit.
Or because what you want is you want to keep that head, that canopy open so you get airflow, which helps for mildew control.
Right.
So.
And again, this isn't on here, but I have to watch the time here, because I could literally go on for 5 hours on this asking questions. Does every vineyard and every varietal have like it's a particular density and harvest, like tons per acre that you can get? And does it take you a long time to learn like, for example, a Cabernet vineyard in Geyserville might be able to carry more Cabernet or less Cabernet, and how long does it take you to learn that?
Well, now, as far as say Cabernet blocks from Russian River to Dry Creek to Alexander Valley, they could pretty much get the same amount of tonnage as what the winery wants. Some wineries, they just want tonnage, 8, 9, 10 tons to the acre. Then another winery may buy half of that block. They only want 3 or 4 tons. So then you got to go through and start dropping crop. And hopefully they pay you a little bit more money for dropping that fruit on the ground.
Right.
So, yeah, and it takes a couple of years to learn all that. Because like I said, every variety is different in subtle ways. To me, I don't even think about it anymore, because I just grew up in it. And I never even had to think about it. I just kind of know it.
Right. I'm sure you do, actually. Yeah. So do we want to explain quickly to everybody why yield matters, tons per acre, and the difference between a vineyard that produces 9 tons per acre versus one that produces 4 tons per acre?
You can get the same vineyard, the same ranch, and in that same block, you could sell half to one winery, half to another winery. One winery might say, hey, I want 8, 9 tons to the acre out of my half. And the other winery might say, I just want 3, 4 tons to the acre, because they're probably charging more per bottle. And they don't want that big tonnage. Flavors can be a little more intense with less tonnage.
It's winemaker preference also, right?
Yes, it's what the winemaker wants and stuff.
Right. And do winemakers often pressure you to get stuff off the vine? Like, let's go, get this, let's get it.
Yeah. They start checking, and then as the sugars get closer, we usually like 3 to 4 day notice before they want to pick, but they start taking sugar samples at about 19 bricks. And a lot of them like to pick around 22, 23, 24 bricks. So they send their people out, and they're the ones that tell us when to pick. But we usually like anywhere from 3 to 4 day notice.
Do you ever say to them, not a good time, we should not do this right now, or we should wait, or we should get it in now? Or
there's been times where I say, hey, it looks like rain, and we need to get it in. Perfect sugars right now, and some of the wineries said, let's wait. Well, we waited, and it ended up getting rot and mildew.
Yeah.
Also, many times the winemakers want to leave the grapes out on the vine longer, and Victor wants to get them in because we have 800 acres that we need to get in, and they aren't ready, and that's always very stressful because his scheduling is a nightmare. Between he and Stevie, they take care of all that, but it can become a real nightmare, especially when a heat wave hits.
Oh yeah, when it gets hot, everybody wants to pick yesterday.
Right.
You know, and our crews can pick quite a bit. We can pick quite a bit a day.
I was just going to ask, how long does it take you to harvest 800 acres?
Well, a couple of years ago, we were done in 3 weeks. Last year was what, Stevie? 2 months almost? Yeah. 2 months. So it just depends what the season is like and how they come in.
Once we finished the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That was many years ago, but that was the longest I can remember.
Wow.
Just within the last 3-4 years, we finished up in 3 weeks, and last year we finished up in 2 months.
Huh. I know it's really, really early, but I also know you are a very talented wine grower. So any idea what the harvest or what the crop is going to look like in terms of size?
I knew you were going to ask that. So I was out this morning looking, and to me, it looks like an average crop. It's not a big crop. It's not a light crop. It's an average crop, which, you know, you get 2 or 3 years of average, and then all of a sudden you'll get a bumper crop where you just blocks that you normally get 3-4 tons will get 6, 7, 8 tons to the acre. So this looks like an average crop. And the way you can tell is all the little shoots that are out there. There's either one big bunch, and then there's like a second one, and then a really good crop, you'll have a third one down low. So I see a lot of 1s and 2s, which is an average crop.
Average, okay. And the big crop was 17? Was that the big one?
I think it was. Yes, it was.
Was that the year of the first year of the fires here? It might have. That was the.
But
so it might have been 16.
Yeah. I mean, we had big crops then. It was huge.
And you know, and that's also something I didn't plan to ask, but since you raised the question, and again, it's 5:21, so I got a little bit of time here. The fires, how big of a problem was that for you to manage around that? I can't even begin. First of all, I can't imagine the fear of having your house taken by a fire, or but then now it's not just your house and your vineyard. Your whole company is managing 800 acres. I can't even imagine the challenge. I can't even imagine it.
Last year, one of the ranches we have, the town of Windsor, man, we were up in the hills there, and I just brought in 3 crawlers because we have to use crawlers there because it's pretty steep. And the fires hit, so I forgot the tractors were there, went back after. The fire went right underneath the tractors and didn't hurt them at all. But then another ranch we had a set of doubles up in the hills. Trailers, yeah, with the gondolas on it, and it just melted everything.
And the view, I don't know if everyone can see the view that is on our screen, but last year that was all burning.
Those hills behind you were all on fire.
Oh boy.
So if everybody's seeing the background we're seeing, imagine that all on fire and smoky, and so much smoke that we couldn't really see what was going on most of the time.
And then a couple of the ranches, we actually couldn't pick the grapes because we tested them for smoke damage, and they were so infested with smoke that you just couldn't crush them. So we had to leave them on the vine.
When do you cut those off? Just when you prune, or
when you prune? Yeah, you just drop it on the ground.
Yeah. I would say to everybody too. I was at the winery last summer. Actually right when harvest was starting, so it was the end of summer, like September. Yeah, right around September. And for all of us right now that are going through what we're going through with the shelter in place, and we all know it's not ideal and not a lot of fun. Let me tell you about what these guys had to deal with. So they have rolling blackouts, brownouts, whatever you want to call them, in Northern California now to try to minimize the risk of fire. And so all the electricity was turned off everywhere. There weren't traffic lights. But the really tough thing for these guys was the electricity at the wineries turned off. And when they bring these grapes in and they crush them, sugar plus yeast equals alcohol plus heat. And so everything that goes into a tank has to be cooled. So the next thing I know, I walk to the property, and Victor is searching for generators.
Yeah.
And how much a week does it cost you to have a generator? It's like $10,000 a week, right?
So yeah, it was. Well, we had it for 3 weeks, and it was $30-some thousand. But I was lucky to get it because our electrician said, Vic, there's no generators in California, not one left. Because we needed a 250 kW, which is pretty good size. So he goes, I found one in Ohio, but it's going to cost $6,000 just to ship it out here. So I said, oh, God. So I said, okay, let's get it. Then he found another one. So we were pretty good. We kept working. The other thing, they had the National Guards out, so all the exits were closed. So we had to keep sneaking in to get work done. You know.
Well, we stayed at the winery in our trailer. Oops,
Yeah.
we're probably not supposed to say that. Plugged into the generator, and Victor had to keep the generator fueled night and day so that the wine could be kept cool so that it wasn't ruined. So that was quite the challenge for him. I think you forgot about that, how hard you had to work.
Yeah, it was
Well,
constantly.
We had our cat in the trailer and ourselves, and
before we go on to the next thing, because I do want to talk about the winery, we just couldn't have you on and not talk about the winery, but you're a grape grower, so we had to talk about that. Is there anything else in the COVID-19 era that you think would be interesting to share, or anything I missed? I know this is a silly ass question, but is there anything that that the virus is doing to impact the vineyards or anything like that?
It doesn't impact the vineyards, like we said, unless we can't get in and do our job. Otherwise, the vineyards are fine. You know, they're fine. And it's just keeping the employees healthy. The other thing we had this year, too, on top of all this, we had frost damage this year. Quite a bit of frost damage on some of our ranches.
So frost is going to be quantity then. That could actually result in a smaller vintage, or
a couple of the ranches that we farmed down in the Russian River area didn't have any kind of frost protection whatsoever, and they probably lost 80% of their crops, 80 to 90% of their crops. So they're not going to basically even pick this year.
Right. Wow, that's unbelievable.
Which one of my customers is right around 90 to 100 tons he lost.
Oh,
yeah.
So for everybody that's out there listening, we have our set of challenges trying to get through what we're all trying to get through. But as you can imagine, growing grapes in viticulture is it's an amazing thing. So wow, that's all I can say about that. I'm going to switch gears now because we're going to run out of time otherwise.
All right.
And I want to talk about the winery. You and I and your family have been together for 13 plus years, since 2006. Over those 14 years, and you've been there since you were 8 years old. So, I mean, you've seen it all. What would you say is the biggest change you've seen recently, or even not recently, like even over the last 20 years?
The change or challenge?
You know what? Let's unpack both of those. What's the biggest challenge and what's the biggest change?
Well, the two things for challenge is labor issues, getting enough people when you need them. And the other challenge is the market, going out there. There's so many labels out there. I don't know how people go into a store and know what they want to drink. I guess if the label looks nice, they pick it that way. But to me, those seem to be the two biggest challenges. And the change is, we started when Miro came on board. Obviously, you guys know Miro. The wines have just gone astronomically so much better. I mean, he is a fantastic winemaker. We got a fantastic team here. Things are finally getting the way I envisioned it years ago. It's just all starting to come together. And having you too, you're part of the team.
Yeah,
selling the wine. So
it's a wonderful opportunity to be able to serve the winery and your family for sure, and Miro too. We certainly have a big love for Miro. In fact, I think Miro is going to join us on one of these, not next week, but the week after, May 8th. I just got to pin him down. He's a little bit difficult to pin down.
Yeah, he is. He can be.
What's the number one strength the winery has in the business? What would you say?
Oh gosh, we talked about that earlier. What was it?
Well, I just think the wines are really good. It's just how to get the word out.
Yeah, well, to me, like I said, the wines have been fantastic. Especially this, our lineup. This is just part of it here.
I'm enjoying the OPR, which is my everyday go-to wine now.
Yeah, and I'm doing the Montepulciano.
Really, we used to only drink wine when we had company or went out to dinner. So.
And now we drink it every night, like a lot of Americans are doing right now, I think.
I know. That's been the thing that they've said, is that consumption is up some crazy number, and I know our business with Trentadue has certainly not been bad. March and April have been very good, so it's been good. So you would say then the number one strength is the quality, and then their affordable prices.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about the Montepulciano, because I think that's really, I think that's an amazing project. I think what you guys have done with taking the Trentadue line and making that the tête de cuvée for the entire winery in the business. I think that is a wonderful success story. So tell us a little bit about what the game is with that and what you're doing.
On the Montepulciano?
Yeah. And you have Sangiovese, Montepulciano, and
Yeah, probably about 25 years ago, I was out selling wine, and one of the distributors wanted me to try the Montepulciano I had. I just loved it. So I went to UC Davis and got some cuttings and planted it. And since then, we keep planting more and more of it. But it's still a limited production. I mean, it's only several hundred cases of it, if that. And it's basically just a tasting room and club wine. And then we have our Sangiovese, our Old Patch, OPR, which is our everyday drinking wine. So we just try to put out great wines at a great price.
yeah, well, and you're obviously good at it. So,
Yeah. I mean, I wish you guys, well, you know what the Montepulciano tastes like, but I wish everybody else could try what this tastes like.
well, I think the right thing, I think what you're trying to say is you're trying to invite everybody to the winery
Yes.
and
Yes.
have them come and visit you and see you and your family and taste all the wines. Would I
Yeah.
be correct in that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
How about the coronavirus and COVID-19? Is that a threat to the winery at all? Are you allowed to have your tasting room open?
No, it's closed. And the cellar has been closed. I think starting next week, we're starting with half a crew. And then the following week, the full crew will come in. So we'll have a full crew back in the cellar. So, and they could have been working, but they elected to take a little bit of time off. And the cellar is fine right now. There was not a lot that needed to be done. But starting next week, we're back open again, but not the tasting room.
And our son Tyler works in the cellar. Stevie's Victor's right-hand man in the vineyards, and Tyler's now in the cellar.
That's great.
So both his sons are in the business.
Yeah, well, you know my feelings. I want to get both of those boys out at some point in the field and get them introduced to some people. And that's something that's not going to happen in 2020, obviously. With
I
them.
think they're nice guys, and I'm sure they'd be very good at it.
Yeah. So the only threat that COVID-19 really is to the winery is just whatever's happening in the with the people. There's nothing that anything.
No,
else.
it's not going to have any effect on the wines. Like I said, other if we can't get in and do our jobs.
Right. Right. Is there anything else that you would like to, before we're going to shortly here, we'll get started on asking people questions. I do have a couple of questions for you personally, though, because I'm actually kind of curious. Some of these things I've made notes of, I don't even know the answers to. So for everybody, anything else about the Trentadue Winery or the Four Seasons Vineyard Management Company that I missed, that I didn't cover, that you'd like to touch on while we're here together?
We know all of our wedding business right now is kind of on hold while this virus thing is going on. So, and we're trying to reschedule new ones for the weddings for later in the season, and even push them back to next year if they can. And then our summer concerts, those are all on hold. So that part of it's had a big impact on the winery.
Right. And the Thursday happy hour, is there any chance that those are going to be able to, do we know, or have they said anything about when things will be open back up, or?
No, they haven't. No, they keep.
That was such a success.
I know. They keep giving you a little hope, saying like May 1st, and then May 1st comes, and well, now it's going to be, the end of May, and then the end of May will come, and they'll say, oh, now it's going to be the end of June. They don't know themselves.
Yeah. I will tell everybody who's on board here that if you ever want to go, I actually, yes, I do work with Victor and Cindy and the whole crew there, and so you could make the argument that I'm prejudiced, but I can tell you that I've been all over Europe and California and Oregon and everywhere else, and the best event in the wine industry, the whole thing, is the Thursday happy hours that they have at the winery. It's absolutely, I actually make a point to invite myself. I don't even wait for them to invite me. I invite myself and go and every year, because it's just a wonderful experience to go enjoy that. So if they do get to open this year, I would make it a point to make sure that you can go and visit.
Well, one thing I think you wanted to say about vineyard management was take care of the vines.
Oh yeah. And I'm more of a simple guy. So the vines, if you just take care of them, give them water, give them, fertilizers, nutrients, they'll take care of you. A lot of these companies just get so technical and moisture probes and all that stuff. I take the simpler way to farming, and it seems to work out really good.
I would agree. The things that been able to drink that you've grown have been outstanding. I feel the same way about hot peppers, by the way. You take care of the hot peppers.
Yeah. So,
It goes.
yeah.
And Cindy, are you going to put some of those out in the garden this year?
If his seeds come up, yes.
Well, they come up,
But
they
you
just
know,
don't.
when Van cooked Thai food for us when he stayed with us last time, delicious Thai food, and you bought some peppers, and they were still in my refrigerator, so I just slit them and put them in the ground, and they're starting to come up. So we'll see what happens with them.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, now let's try to ask Victor a couple of questions here and get to know the guy. Now we've got to know the grape grower and the viticulturalist and the winemaker, and we understand a lot about his family. And then I'm not sure, Leona, if there's a way that we can get some questions for everybody. I do know that if anybody has a question, we should find a way for you to ask Victor and Cindy. But first and foremost, Victor, your favorite food, what is it?
Rigatoni
Matthew
pasta.
just came back from a walk.
I'm sorry, what would you say? Rigatoni?
Rigatoni, yeah, pasta. That's my top favorite. And a glass of wine.
It has to be homemade pasta sauce, though,
Hers is
which
the
I
best.
do once a year, and it's quite the.
It's amazing.
Well, you've had my pasta sauce. You're pasta worthy.
Yeah, that's
Not everyone is pasta worthy, Van, but you are.
Oh, thank you very much. That is true. I've enjoyed a lot of wonderful meals there, and some card games where I thought I was going to win and didn't. But that's another story for another day.
We just won't say much about that.
Yeah. So you probably don't have a lot of downtime, and I do know because I've stayed with you before, and you're usually up about 3:30 in the morning to go to work. And I don't. For everybody else on board here, the vineyard manager is at work literally before the sun comes up every day, and a lot of times you pick at night, right, Victor?
Yeah, harvest time. I rarely go to bed at harvest time.
No, he's
I'm out almost
Out there.
24/7.
So this is it's not a hard question to ask. It might be a tough question to answer. What do you do for your downtime? What are your favorite things to do? Both of you guys. What do you do? I don't know anybody that works more than you guys work.
Well, when I get away, one of my friends has a boat in Cabo, so we go down once a year, and I love scuba diving.
Ah,
Scuba diving is the best because you're down there 100 feet, no phones, nobody bugging you, except for your friends playing jokes on you down there. Other than that, it's beautiful.
Cindy?
I like to cook and garden. Those are my two favorite things. I'm a very domestic homebody person.
So I get home at night and she wants me to help her in the garden. I said, I just been gardening 800 acres. I don't want to do it again at
It's
night.
not the same.
That's funny. Least favorite thing to do?
Paint.
Paint.
Yeah,
We
I
hate to paint.
Yeah, we both hate painting. We love doing everything else, but we hate painting.
Yeah, we have to hire somebody to paint.
That's funny.
I mean, it sounds stupid, but I hate it with a passion.
Outside of Dry Creek and Sonoma, where is your favorite place to go and visit and see?
Two places, the tropics and Italy. Those are my two favorite.
Ah, which part of Italy? Tuscany, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Well, no.
All of Italy, you know.
Yeah,
Oh.
we didn't have as good an experience in Tuscany as we did in Florence and Rome.
Yeah, we were in Florence, we rented Vespas, and that was a blast. Driving around the countryside and through the city, and a little dangerous, but it was fun.
It was.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, is there anything before I try to turn this over? I don't know if Leona is around and we can find a way to.
I'm here, Van. I asked people who have a question to raise their hand. Use the hand raise function, and I will unmute them and let them ask their question, and then Victor can answer.
All right. Well,
Leona. Oh, I said hi to Leona.
Hi, Victor.
How you doing?
Didn't see you guys before. I was a little late getting in.
Oh,
no
Hey,
worries.
Leona, I don't see the hand raise on anywhere on my screen, so I don't know if you can direct people to it.
When you hover over your name, it should give you a drop down that allows you to raise your hand.
I unmuted myself briefly. It's under reactions at the bottom.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth.
Okay, yeah, there's a thumbs up and it looks like a clap. So if anybody's got a question for Victor and Cindy about viticulture, either clap or give us a thumbs up, and Leona will work her magic. I can't do anything. She's in control of the whole thing. So she'll work her magic, and you can ask a question.
Okay, we have our first question is from Rebecca. I'm going to unmute you, Rebecca.
Hello. I missed part of this, and I'm an entomologist. So I'm kind of like a bug nerd. I'm just very curious, like what kind of pests you guys encounter and like what kind of control you do for them.
One of my biggest customers, we do a lot of predatorial mites. So if there's something out there that's bad, like mites and stuff, we'll use predatorial mites. And then there's also certain chemicals you can use. Try not to do hard chemicals, but soft chemicals. But like I said, my biggest customer, we do predatorial mites. We put them out every week. We get shipments of them in. So
that's awesome. I love the predatory mites.
yeah, it's fun. One year we put out something like 20,000 ladybugs was one of the things we put out. And I kind of did it wrong. I didn't realize you're supposed to put them out at night. And I put them out there in the day, and they all went poof, flew away. So the next batch I got in, I put them out at night, and they stuck around. So, yeah.
Great question. Anybody else? We certainly could not have possibly answered every question in 40 minutes. If we did, then, wow, I get some sort of, okay.
Sarah has a question. Sarah, I'm going to unmute you.
Hello. My question, Victor, is, and Cindy too, what is your favorite part of your job? And what is your least favorite part of your job? So what do you wake up in the morning going, yay, I get to, and oh crap, I have to?
I get to stop at the coffee shop in the morning and talk to my friends and find out what's going on.
Well, I'm actually, I don't know if I'd say retired, but I have a person in my office now that does all the day-to-day. And that's my favorite thing when I get up, saying, you know what? I can do whatever I want today. So I still am in charge of all the financial and dealing with clients, banks, accountants, blah, blah, blah.
And the other best part of going to work too is I love harvest time, because you're up almost 24/7. It's 7 days a week, and that's all you do is pick grapes. Nothing else is going on. This time of year, there's 50 different things going on.
And there's a lot of energy during harvest too, especially also with the employees. You know, they're geared up for that. That's when they make a lot of money, and they have high energy. We have high energy, and we get it done because nature's not going to wait for us to take a nap.
And they make a lot of their money for the year that way. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Great. Least favorite thing. I can't let you off the hook. I think Sarah said favorite thing and least favorite thing.
Going to bed at night.
That's your least favorite thing?
Well, because then there's, you have to go to sleep. I like to see what's going on and keep going. Actually, when I work 24/7, I love it. I mean, you're out there at 2 o'clock in the morning, you see things in the sky that you go, what the hell is that? So I hate going, I enjoy
maybe
it.
People don't understand that we pick at night now whenever we can, because it's good for the employees. We don't have the heat problems. The wineries like it because the grapes come in cool, so they haven't already started fermenting before they sort or crush or do whatever. And so at nighttime, it's also quieter. The phones aren't ringing. People aren't tracking you down. So that's what he means, by being out there with all the stars and so forth.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So going to sleep is my least favorite thing.
Yeah. And he doesn't, during the day when all the employees sleep, to get their rest, he has to move equipment, talk to winemakers, set up pick time, still do other things that have to be done. So it's a very, very busy time.
And Cindy, your least favorite thing to do?
Oh, gosh. Paperwork. I just really hate paperwork. I'm stuck
and that's
with
her job.
Yeah. I do.
Her main job is what she hates.
But, the other thing is in the vineyard management business, particularly, and somewhat in the winery, you're very connected to the seasons. Everything is about what needs to be done now to get those vines where they need to be, or what needs to be done to get that wine going where it needs to be. So I think it's a really good life. Time tends to go faster the older we get, but with that, you are in touch with the seasons at all times, and I think that's a good thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, who else has a question?
Diane has a question. Diane, I'm going to unmute you.
Thank you.
Good to go.
Hi.
Hi.
So I noticed you have OPR in your glass, and I know that we all have a favorite wine. So when you're not drinking OPR, what's your favorite?
Ooh, the Montepulciano is way up there. This is
Yes,
what
if you can see Montepulciano.
and the Rosato de Sangiovese, the Sangiovese Rosé, coming up in the spring is another go-to wine. I really love that. And probably my all-time favorite is Merlot.
Fantastic.
So I'm going to piggyback on Diane's question and say, when you're not drinking Trentadue or Miro, what's your favorite wine?
You're not drinking then.
No, we've tried all different kinds of wine. People often bring wine as a gift, which we really appreciate. We've gone to Trader Joe's and bought $2 wine and found some really good ones out there. So I don't know that we have a favorite, but we do enjoy trying different wines.
So ours is our favorite. I hate to say it. That's probably being biased, huh?
I know.
Yeah.
What can you say?
Well, it'd be a little weird if you didn't say your own wine wasn't your favorite. That'd be a little strange. Okay, anybody else have a question? Come on.
I'm scrolling to see if there are any hand raises that I didn't see before.
I know KH had a question. Oh, Debbie Lawrence has a question. Leona, do you want to unmute Debbie Lawrence?
I've got to get to her. There we go. Okay, Debbie, you're unmuted.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. So question for you in terms of the Four Seasons Management company that you own. Are you delivering the fruit to the wineries, or are they coming to pick up the fruit? Like, how does that work? How are you maintaining the quality? I mean, obviously you're picking at night, keeps it higher quality, but how is that delivery transferred?
We have semi trucks with sets of doubles, and there's anywhere from 14 to 10 gondolas on it. So as soon as the wineries open up, we start delivering. The wineries now give us delivery times, especially the bigger ones. So I might have to have 2 trucks at 7 o'clock in the morning and another 2 trucks at 10 o'clock. So everything is scheduled, and we deliver everything.
You deliver everything. Wow.
Yeah.
That is not a small task.
No, it's a lot of fruit to deliver.
Well, if anybody wants to come out at harvest time and observe.
If you come out at
Victor
harvest time
loves
and
it.
observe, I'm going to put you to work.
That's true, and he means it. He's had people, Phil worked for 2 or 3 harvests.
Yeah.
He's a local attorney, and he volunteered to help. And
it was 3 years later, he finally left. So yeah,
it is an exciting time because there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I encourage anybody to come out and they can hang out and follow. And
well, I think I would just add too that I think that seeing a vineyard in all 4 seasons is really important. I think obviously it's beautiful. Everybody wants to go out at harvest and crush, and there's nothing like the odors that you pick up in a winery when they're crushing fruit. But I would say that all 4 of the seasons are spectacular. Even the winter, obviously spring and summer and fall, but even the winter time, I think it's important. If your favorite wine that you love, that you just really want to enjoy, you should bond with as much as you can with the people that are behind the scenes and with the vines. I think that's important. So.
Yeah, when you come out and work in the winery a little bit, because I'm sure Miro, the cellar guys, let you do pump overs and stuff, you get a real sense of how wine is made.
Right.
Well, I like to think there's a quality to each season. The winter is very clean. Everything's pruned and clean, and they've done their spraying for weeds. The spring, everything's freshly green and beautiful, and it smells the blooms. Then in the summer, everything's very lush. And then we get into the fall, and then, of course, you have the harvest with all that beautiful fruit hanging, and once it's in the tank, once it's off the vines begin to shut down and change, and then you get those gorgeous, beautiful colors. And really the time between when the colors fade and when we prune is the only time of year I think is a little blah, but you know, probably 11 months out of the year. It's a beautiful thing.
Right. Rupi, I believe, has a question. If we can find Rupi and unmute.
Yes, I'm unmuting now. Rupi?
Okay, hi. I'm a recent kind of member of the wine club, but we came, I think, just before the entire lockdown happened in Northern California. I loved the estate, loved the tasting room. So my question is, how many acres of estate wines do you have, and roughly what percentage of it do you process yourselves, and what percentage is sold?
The winery right around the estate is around 80 acres of grapes, and we process 100% of it. So,
okay, so basically you don't sell your grapes to anybody. Everything is
we have
estate wine.
2 little blocks of Carignan that we sell. Otherwise, everything else comes to us. So,
oh wow!
Yeah,
that's a lot of grapes to get through.
Yeah, it is. It is. But we do it. We're set up for it. We've been doing it for years. So
that's a great question. Thank you very much.
Very cool. Thank you.
Did anybody else have a question?
Did Kay have a question?
KH, did you have a question still? We should unmute you.
I unmuted you, so just let us know if you do.
Yes. Hey guys. Hey, Victor. Good to see you again. I met you when you were in Houston. Actually, you already answered my question. My question was about the rosé, and then y'all went into, I was like, hey, what's the rosé? I just was curious on what that was.
yeah, it's a Sangiovese, and it is a killer rosé. I mean,
there it is.
I've tried a lot of rosés, and that one is great.
It's made from the Sangiovese grape.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I visited y'all in June with my sister, and y'all were very gracious. And then you were here in Houston, so with Miro, it was a great time, and I love selling your wine.
Miro's a crack up. He's a good guy.
Well, y'all were the ones that y'all went to the wrong airport that day.
Oh God, yes. Gee. Good thing the plane was delayed.
I had a car problem, and I had to Uber to get my car, and y'all went to the wrong airport.
That's funny.
Good thing Miro knew where he was going, to the wrong airport. Jeez.
I felt so bad I couldn't give you a ride, but I did get my car back. So.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
I actually have a question. Kay, thank you for your question, because you spawned my question, and that is, do you guys do you grow Pinot Noir for anybody? And then part 2 of the question is, have you ever thought about it for Trentadue at all?
One of my customers has Pinot Noir, and we've gotten it from him a couple times, but I like the Italian varieties, the Sangioveses, the Montepulcianos, the blends. It's, that's what we do. We're good at that.
Right.
So, why do what everybody else is doing? Do something different.
Right. That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So. How about a little Tokai Friulano or some Gavi or something like that?
We can talk about it. As long as you can sell it, we can make it.
That's funny. Okay. Anybody else? Yep.
Hi.
Hi. How you guys doing?
Hi. We joined late. We're from Davenport, Iowa. Love your wines.
Oh, thank you.
I think I might buy more OPR than anybody else, but maybe that's not true.
Well, we appreciate that.
We got in late, so a couple things. When we're not drinking OPR, L'Astoria Merlot is probably my favorite. So my question is, your guys' Merlot is just knockout. How do you, I love Zins. Your Merlot is some of the best I've had. How do you do that?
Well, it's the area that is planted. It's planted out in front of the winery. It's called Block 500. And before we planted, I dug these soil pits, and it was a lot of mostly an old river bar. I guess thousands of years ago, instead of the Russian River being to the east of us about, a quarter mile, it was right where we were sitting. So they're not sitting, the roots aren't sitting in a lot of water. So we get a lot of intense flavors out of that block. And we just don't overcrop it. We get the sugars high, probably around 25, 26 bricks. And it just makes a killer wine. Yeah.
Oh, the Merlot is fabulous.
Well, you remember back before that movie Sideways came out?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They were just they were overcropping the 10, 12, 15 tons the acre. And it was just making a weak wine out of it. And I think they kind of ruined it then. But it's coming back, and we've always made a killer Merlot. So
oh, yeah.
I'm glad you guys like it.
Oh, we love it. Love it. Yeah.
And I just wanted you to know we had.
Oh, you bought the book.
Oh, you did. Oh.
We've had it a long time. I've read it more than once.
Oh, great.
So
It's
you-
actually more interesting version, but he
Jack
was.
can't tell all the secrets.
I know, right?
Tell us.
You come out someday, we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk.
We were there last October.
Yeah, we were just there.
So I read it again when we were after we were out there.
I hope you missed the fires.
We actually
we were right in between them, the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
we stayed at Geyserville Inn and the power was out when we stayed there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Nights with no power.
Well, you were about what, a mile or 2 miles from our house. So you
Yeah.
were close.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were
Yeah,
close.
I heard somebody ask when you're not drinking Trentadue, we're also wine members at Sagacio, which I think is
Oh
just
yeah, they have wonderful.
most fabulous zins in in the area. So
Yeah, no, they're good too. They're just down the road from us also.
yeah,
It would be questionable whether we buy more Trentadue or more Sagacio. It's a toss-up.
They're one of the few wineries in the area that have been in business as long or longer. They've been in longer
than we have,
us,
yeah.
So
And I don't blame you if you buy their wine either.
yeah, we know them, we like them.
Yeah.
We balance it.
Well, if you guys come out, please call us.
yeah, we will definitely. Yeah, we love coming out there. So
Yeah, we got to see all the stuff about the grapes with Miro when we were out there in October. So
Doesn't he go back once a year to where you guys are?
St. Ambrose University
Yes.
in
Yeah.
Davenport does a wine thing, and he's been there 3, 4, or 5 different times, I think, to be
He
there.
He likes doing that. He's
Yeah.
good at it, yeah. So-
Yeah, well, he's quite the character. He's got a great personality.
And he can talk for hours.
Yeah.
We'll be doing tastings. It's like sit down dinners. We'll bring out a course, and he keeps going on. About the 3rd course, I'm in the back going, stop. We want to eat. So, yeah. So, well, thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it.
We've been members for a long time.
Oh, thank you. So
Yeah,
all we ask is a bottle a day. Is all we ask.
I think we meet that criteria, maybe. So.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Victor, I think during the this whole crisis, I may have been at 2 bottles a day between.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Yeah.
all right, everybody. Well, we're at the hour mark, and I want to just thank everybody for coming out and hanging out with us. These are a lot of fun. I firmly believe that we have to use every minute wisely because they're precious, and you never know when you don't get any more of them. So this whole thing is one of the great things that's come out of the unfortunate situation that we're all living through right now. But it's great to be able to have. We had 50 people, and we were able to again. I want to say it. I think that these two deserve a lot of credit for everything in the wine industry. They've contributed a lot more than a lot of people have. So I'm very grateful to have had Cindy and Victor come and sit with us. They grow some amazing fruit. They make some amazing wines, and it was very informative. We got a lot of good questions in, got a lot of good information in, and I can't wait till we do it again.
Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to come out.
Yeah, definitely come. Make sure you put it on your schedule when the airplanes are flying again, when they're flying, but when it's not a real pain to fly.
Safe to fly.
Safe. You come out and come to the winery and come see everybody and spend some time, and do not miss a Thursday afternoon happy hour. Those things are unbelievable. That is a great time.
Hopefully they'll start June 1st.
Yeah, hopefully. So with that, I think
Cheers, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers. Enjoy your Friday evening and your weekend, and tune into Preston Lane and Partners on our Facebook page or our website. Keep up to date on what the different things are that we're doing. We got a lot more stuff coming up. It's just nothing but a good time, and I know we're here to enjoy all of it and spur everybody on. So thanks again, Cindy and Victor, and we will catch everybody another time.
Thank you.
Bye, Mandy.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Tokar.
Miss
Bye,
you
Mandy.
guys.
Bye.
Wait to see you soon, I hope.
Oh, yes, hopefully.
Yeah.
Bye-bye now.
I'm gonna sneak up there soon.
Bye, guys.
You
Bye,
do.
man.